Hello and welcome to Fatboss Weekly, Season 2, Episode 1.
Hello.
And Fatboss Weekly, for the people who don't know, is our weekly show here, where we cover WoW news and other gaming subjects that we find are important to us.
Yes, and we're back with Season 2 of Fatboss Weekly, which is going to last throughout the whole year, definitely, every week, on a Wednesday, 100%.
Maybe. Anyway, to start the show, we're going to talk about a recent survey that Blizzard decided to send out to old and new players.
Survey?
Yeah, they sent an email to people, mainly WoW subscribers, people who used to be subscribed, people who are currently subscribed, asking them various different questions.
Right, okay.
And the questions all hinted at that maybe an annual pass is coming back.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But the main thing that was important in the email is that they were asking people how much they would be prepared to pay for the game, and how much they would be prepared to pay for the game, plus a character boosting service, which they've already talked about, which is the instant level 90.
Right.
The potential price points that appeared significant, at least, were the $49 for the actual Warlords of Draenor itself, and that includes a level 90 character upgrade. And they also mentioned $39, and that's without the character upgrade, which hints that maybe when the game does eventually come out, they're thinking about not bringing it with the character upgrade, which means you need to pay the extra $10 to get the character upgrade as well.
What?
Yeah, and also this means that potentially, if they're going to add it just for Warlords of Draenor, they'll probably add it on the Blizz store at some point as well, which does mean that in the future at some point, it's pay to win. It's not pay to win completely, but it's pay to skip.
That's like the worst thing. Pay to skip. The thing is, like, pay to skip in some games is like, for mobile games and stuff like that, is fine or whatever. That's just a model that they do. But with WoW, leveling is like, even though like maybe not for players who've who know exactly what they're doing on most characters. Like me or you, I feel that if we did get a fresh 90, it wouldn't ruin our experience because we haven't done the leveling before, and that will probably be the case with quite a few of the veteran players. However, leveling is a key part of an MMO.
Yeah.
It gives like character investment and stuff like that. It kind of makes all that kind of shit.
That's the whole point of the fucking game.
Yeah, it's all to do with leveling, and the fact that they allow you to skip, even though it's 90 levels and it is just to see the shiny new content, that's why I was alright with it. If like if everyone got one free level 90, that isn't a big deal. I think that's good.
And also it's like a catch-up system as well, because
exactly.
it allows players who quit the game to come back and still play at the highest level with their friends on the release of the expansion.
Exactly, so I think that's a good thing. However, if they're saying that you can pay to do that, then it all changes completely. They're saying that if you want, you can buy a level 90, because really, you don't want to do all that other content, do you? Come on, it's a bit shit. They're saying with the skip that all the content from 1 to 90 isn't worth experiencing. As in, that part of the content is bad. Why don't they just make that content good instead of saying, yeah, it's a bit shit, here you go, just give us a bit of money and we'll send you off on your way.
It'll be a bit like playing Final Fantasy VII, and them offering you right at the very start of the game a save to go and fight Sephiroth straight away.
Well, no,
for £5. Would it not be exactly the same?
No, completely different.
Why is it completely different?
Because Final Fantasy is a story-driven game in which you would want to experience.
So is WoW.
No, it's not.
Here it is.
Do you know the storyline of WoW at all?
No.
Well then,
that's because I have instant skip on all my quests.
It's completely different. Yeah, that's completely...
Well, I mean, one point that I would like to make with this is that if they do introduce this isn't necessarily a bad thing for people, like you said, more veteran players, because people such as myself, at least, have literally done Recruit a Friend for themselves just so they can level up a character quicker, because I hate leveling in this game. I've done it so many times now where it's just not even interesting remotely anymore, and all it is a job. The only way I've managed to level recently was Recruit a Friend multi-box in the live stream.
Yeah.
Because at least the live stream is some sort of stimulation I can speak to people.
Like, if that is the case, like, and they're wanting it to be for maybe veteran players and stuff like that, because they already know, like, they can deal with it if it hits level 90, why are we paying for it?
Yeah.
It is a way of Blizzard bleeding money out of people. This isn't even necessarily confirmed, so I might be getting angry over nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
now.
it is literally just a survey. So
yeah, exactly. But I think it's like, if that is brought into the game, they're like insulting their own product and insulting the players who play the game as well. If they want to bring in a boost to level 90, even make it free with the expansion, so everyone who buys the expansion gets it for free. or if they want to bring it in a more permanent thing, make it so either it can be earned in game through your main character, but I don't know, like you do a bunch of shit and they kind of understand, oh yeah, you're probably fine having a free level 90, or give it for free. Making us pay for it is a complete business decision, and it's just bad for the consumer for us. It's bad for the players.
There you go, there's Alex's 2 cents.
There you go. Fuck you, Blizzard, if you do that, but otherwise you're cool. You're good.
Anyway, to talk more about Warlords of Draenor, there's been some recent updates regarding the expansion. They've released the new model for Undead Female, looking pretty sexy.
Yeah, I must admit,
If an undead corpse could be sexy.
Well, if that's what you're into, lads. But yeah, I think it's looking a lot better. It's not actually animated and up on the Warlords of Draenor site at the moment.
Yeah, nothing is.
There's nothing, but it is
apart from the 3 originals.
Yeah, I guess that's because they haven't like finalised the animations and got it to work within their plugin or whatever. But I assume that they will all be up because it says coming soon.
Yeah, apparently they're coming like early this year. They'll all be up there, but there is no plans to redo Goblin or Worgen. And I can understand that because, like, I mean, even though Goblins and Worgens have been in the game since the very, very start, when they actually did release them as playable classes and characters, they did update them. And they look fine, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, maybe the Goblins' faces could be touched up, like the male Goblins look a bit...
Some of the female Goblins, like, it's close to dwarf female.
But yeah. So that they've done that anyway, and also they cleared up a couple of things regarding the item squish, because apparently the whole of the WoW community is incredibly confused to the item squish.
Well, pretty much the item squish means that I'm not going to be able to have the game and it won't play properly and my computer will die.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, this game's going to shit, Lawrence. Soon they'll take away my flying mount.
Yeah. For the people who don't understand how the item squish works, essentially the entire game and everything in the game is being nerfed by 90%.
That's it.
That's the only thing you need to know, which means if you're on a boss in your current gear and that boss does an ability that hits for 10% of your entire health, after the item squish, it will still do 10% of your health.
Yeah, it's not even a nerf, it's everything's... Well, it's
everything is the same except nerf by 90%. Everything
take
is still
a zero
the same.
off of everything.
Exactly, that's all it is.
That's pretty much all it is.
But I'm sure everyone who's watching this understood that anyway. It's just the other people in the WoW community. But anyway, moving on from that, they did mention something about Transmog. This is something that I personally was actually, like, quite interested in to see if they do it. But they have stated that they don't plan to rework any gear in the game at all, ever. They don't plan on changing how it looks by updating it with either better textures or anything like that. And if they do decide to do that, they'll introduce new gear entirely. So if you have something from Blackwing Lair and you really like the look of it and Blizzard like, yeah, it looks a bit shit, instead of like making that weapon look better, they'll make a new weapon that looks the same but is updated and they'll just rename it. So it'll be an entirely new item, which is a good thing in my opinion. That's the best way to do it. So if some player out there does like the one that he's already got, but doesn't like it after the change, it doesn't matter, because he's still got his old weapon.
I kind of, like, for the actual, like, if that wasn't the case, if Transmog wasn't, like, a big thing or anything like that, then maybe updating all of the old armor so it actually looks like armor instead of, like, paper cutout would look quite good. I'm over-exaggerating. It all looks fairly decent, but I can kind of I understand how people are just like, I kind of like how the way it is, and I kind of like the bad textures and. Well,
some of the old tier looks fantastic. Like
it does look amazing.
Like tier 2 is insane.
It looks really, really good, but it does. If you did touch it up with slightly better textures, like higher resolution textures and more polygons and shit, I imagine it would look even better.
Sure,
but some people like that, so fair enough. To be honest, I'm not huge on Transmog anyway, so. Whatever.
But yeah, they have said that, so that's how that's going to work.
Yeah. Now, they've also said some things about how the group finder's going to work. You know, the thing in the game right now that everyone's using, and it's really easy to find. It's really not. It's, like, impossible to find, but they're going to update it and make it so everyone can find it, and everyone's going to use it, and it's going to be wonderful. And pretty much it just allows players to find groups cross-realm for almost anything. That includes raids as well. It's pretty much raid finder for everything. So if you want to go and kill Hogger, you'll make a group and say, guys, Hogger's being a bastard, who wants to come along? And then people will just come along, you invite them in and everything. Basically, what they're considering is allowing the group leader to set certain restrictions on who can join the group, and that includes item level. However, there is no plans for a group to have preset restrictions, like so far, so it'll be flexible for the leader to choose. So if you wanted to go and do, say, for the next tier, I don't know, say everything's item level 600 or something, the raid leader gets to choose if everyone has to have a set item level, or he can bring anyone he fucking wants through this system. So it just allows the raid leader to choose, which is much, much better, to be honest, because if you did want to bring some scrub nubs as well along with you, then why the fuck not?
And the groups also appear to be working how they do now, at least. They haven't stated that they're going to work any other way, so you will have the raid leader and anyone who he's assisted. They will be able to kick people if you do have an arsehole in your group. And loot rules, they haven't said anything about them, but my worry is if they keep them how they are now, so you can have either master loot or group loot or 3-for-all, there's going to be massive problems, because then nothing really prevents one random arsehole making a raid group, everyone joins, you get to the last boss, and then on 5% he puts master loot on.
Yeah, because normally, well, you can do that.
It just takes everything.
You can even do that now on a server, but then you'll get trade shouted at. On Lawrence,
he can at the end of this, he can just disappear and no one will ever see him again.
Because he's on some random ass server.
Exactly.
Unless you have like a horrible vendetta and write down what server name he was on and go over there to his trade chat to try and like defame him, then like unless you try and do that, then it's going to be a massive pain. So that's a problem if they do allow you to use those rules.
But if they do have if they have similar loot rules to what they have now with like the flex and the looking for raid, I think that's actually going to take a lot away from this. I think the way that flex and looking for raid loot works, I think it's okay for those, but can you imagine having this sort of system in a 5-man or to kill Hogger as you explained? I mean, how would that work? And if it isn't just for them and it's only just for the raids, why would you not just go do looking for raid and flex? Why would you go and do this instead?
Yeah, I do kind of understand that. Like, the way that, like, loot is, like, everywhere but looking for raid and flex, I think that's a really nice way. You actually go over to the mob and pick up the loot. You're looting the actual mob itself. It's just something about
the boss is actually holding the loot rather than it just randomly gets thrown at you from the fucking nether.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's quite an important part of the game. However, with the cross realm, it's kind of like being a bit anonymous, because it's just going to be a pain in the ass to track you down and rip you to shreds. So I'm not really sure how they're going to be able to balance it out.
Well, I mean, one idea is that this is what I think I would do if it was my game. This is a system I try and introduce, is that if you do use this group finder, at the end of the finder, you should be able to, like, rate players. Like, for the players who play League of Legends, which is probably some of you who are watching now. If you finish a League of Legends game, right at the end, you have the option to like honour a player or whatever. You can say if they were helpful, if they had good teamwork or whatever. You can also report them if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd necessarily use that in this stance. Maybe you would. I don't know. But you should be able to do that, and then when you go to join a player's group, when you look in like the dungeon browser or whatever it's going to be called, the group finder browser, you should be able to see how many helpfuls, how many teamworks, how much of a good raid leader that person is, how honourable they were with the loot, and it could stack up, and then that way you'd always join a good group because you'd look for the person who has the most rating. I mean, the only problem with that is that obviously new players, they would have, like, if you're brand new to the game, you'd have nothing at all, and if you make a group, people aren't going to join it because they're like, well, you've got nothing. But if you joined a group, maybe, you could somehow gain it through that as well, rather than just making a group.
Possibly.
I think this is something interesting they can work on.
Well,
I mean, I'm not a fucking game designer or anything like that, but I think it's an interesting idea and it might help them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd join a group just to farm fucking rating. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, that could be a thing.
They could make an achievements and shit. I don't know.
That could easily be abused, though. Like, that's achievement.
With our live stream, we could do it so
exactly.
well. Right, guys? Join our thing and all rate us.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That the only problem is the abusing, but I'm sure, like, well, as we said,
I think it's
only an idea. So, but yeah, I think that kind of thing might help, being able to like identify what sort of person's leading the raid, if they're a bastard or not.
Yeah.
I think that's quite important.
But ultimately, right now, there's no way of anyone determining what type of group is going to be, how good the players are, how good the raid leader is, and how much of a cunt they are, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, obviously, still really early stages. They said they're completely revamping the group finder, and we'll have to see how it pans out and what happens over the next few months. And talking about over the next few months, pre-expansion patch.
Yeah, so this will be released like very close to the release date of Warlord of Draenor itself. It's going to kind of be like if it's anything like the Cataclysm patch, which was like 4 to 8 weeks before Cataclysm came out. Remember when all the elements were coming through in Orgrimmar and you had to go and do loads of shit everywhere? That should be in the game all the time, if you ask me. Loads of random dynamic events are just happening everywhere, but they said they was going to do that in Warlord of Draenor. I'm excited. But yeah, so that's what they said they were going to do, and there is actually an interview that we got here. Yeah,
if you go in the description, there's a link to an interview where the person who was talking about that was also talking about the actual event itself and what's going to be happening with it and all the lore that sort of backs it up. And if you are interested, then go and watch it.
Now, there has been a little bit more talk about the old garrisons, Lawrence, which I'm super excited about. What they said is that it will be gained at an early level in Draenor, and it will be heavily integrated into your leveling experience. And they didn't actually mention whether or not it's going to be skippable for the people that absolutely hate the idea of garrisons because they're just really boring and they hate life. But yeah, so there isn't actually a mention if it's skippable or not. But that sounds super awesome that you're going to get at an early level, and it actually might be, I don't know, to say like you got to find Sergeant Paula or something, and then like he's like, oh, Paula's at your garrison. Said some gnome or some shit, so you got to go to garrison, and that's where you pick up a quest or something like that. That sounds awesome. That sounds super cool.
Well, I mean, I think everyone, when they initially announced garrisons, thought it was going to be like something you do when you're not raiding, and you won't see it at all until max level. When actually it's the complete opposite way around. They want to throw it at you straight away, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But like you say, if you can't skip it, or if the experience from it is really bad, it might be a bit painful to level, especially if you're one of these guys who wants to raid immediately or get raid ready immediately.
Yeah,
it might actually cock block you a bit, but
yeah, like maybe the integration that they're talking about is by getting the followers. They did say that you'll be able to gain the followers through your questing and stuff like that. So maybe you finish a quest and you talk to the guy afterwards. He's like, "I'm so happy you got me all of that ham. Oh, maybe I'll join your house," or some shit. So maybe that would happen. There has to be a quest for ham now. That sounds good. I'm looking forward to this.
But yeah, garrisons, again, waiting for more information to be released. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. So moving away from Warlord to Draenor, we're going to be talking about a giveaway that we're going to be doing this week. Our friends at Plantronics, which is like a headset company that does various other things as well, have given us access to give away 3 of their RIG headsets this week. And the headsets come in 2 different colours. They work for PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox, which is pretty cool. They come with a smart mixer box. You have like swappable microphones.
It's just a good headset.
Yeah, they're great headset. They're very comfy. They have great sound quality. I mean, we use them. I mean, we've got a pair. They're very, very sexy. There's somehow that you can integrate the mixer with your cell or mobile phone.
What?
I don't know how, so you can answer calls on your headset. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they tell you how to do that with the labels and everything, but I just saw the box and ripped it to shreds and put it on, and I was like, the headset, Lauren. Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, we're giving 3 of these away. If you guys would like to win one of these, just leave a comment and leave a like, and we'll pick 3 random people.
Do say something about the headset in your comment,
just say give me the headset or something.
You got to disguise the word headset in your comment.
Hashtag headset 2014, some shit like that.
Oh my god. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Just put the word headset in your comment and it'll be awesome. And we'll be giving away 3 of these this week, and the winners will be announced on next week's show. So moving on to the part of the show where we look at the mail.
Although we don't have any.
We don't have any mail, Lawrence.
No, we don't.
Oh my god. Well, it's the beginning of a new season. No one sends us any Fatboss mail anymore because they think we're dead. And you wouldn't be wrong. So yeah, we haven't got any mail this week. However, if you do want to have a chance of being on next week's show, to be honest, it's not very hard to get on the show. We've had some real shit on the show before. So if you do want a chance of being on next week's show, then do send us a message on Facebook, on our Facebook page, or tweet us at FatbossTV. Both links are in the description below. Just send us in a question. And,
or you can do it on Twitch as well.
Yeah, you can do actually. Yeah, I
well.
always check the Twitch messages. Yeah, just have like the subject as Fatboss Weekly. Yeah. So that'll do, and then we'll do that. So yeah, we'll pick a couple of those questions and we'll be answering them in next week's show.
So that's all we got time for this week. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Remember, if you do want to get one of these headsets, leave a comment, leave a like, hashtag headset.
Some shit like that.
And obviously we're on Twitch now. We're live streaming all the time, 3 days a week, something like that.
Yes, and of course Fatboss Weekly will be coming out next Wednesday, won't it, Lawrence?
Yeah.
Won't it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
See you next time.